What up, my people? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome, bienvenidos to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy en Día TV. I'm your host and producer, Yesy Rodriguez, and I'm going to bring on to the stage Dr. CC, the Actionist. She is back. Welcome back. How you doing,
Mama? I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys. So much. I know you guys were holding it all down last week, but I missed you all. So, I'm happy to be back. Yes.
We missed you, but we know that you did some amazing things, and we're super, super proud of you. So please spill the tea, please, ma'am.
Yes, so I had my final end all be all for my graduation there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on last week. So woo-hoo-hoo. So it was there with my alma mater, Kaiser University, with classmates and professors, and it was just amazing. I had a smaller ceremony at my parent, I guess, campus there in Jacksonville, Florida, but I didn't know anybody there. And so this was like the big. And so we were there. It was beautiful. I think it was it 700 graduates? I think like everybody was graduating. So it was a big thing. And then for the doctors, it was only 70 of us. So that was a big deal. And just seeing like I didn't know they had a Latin division at Kaiser University. So we had people from Portugal and Spain and Colombia and Dominican Republic, like everywhere. It was represented, like everyone. And it was just so amazing. And so they did a part of the ceremony in Spanish, Espanol, and then, and then translated into the English, but it was beautiful. I had an amazing time. My husband came with me this time, and it was awesome. And so I'm like, yay. So it's done, y'all. It's finished. It's done. It's final. You know what I'm saying? Just to have that really big graduation. So I had a good time.
I'm proud of you.
Yes.
I am so proud of you. Yes. Because I had asked Nadine. I was like, Nadine, I thought she had already graduated. She was like, girl, we got to ask her. I was like, okay, we'll ask her. But that makes sense. So you had a smaller ceremony.
I did.
And then the bigger one.
Mm-hmm. I did it.
That's awesome. And this is an amazing milestone. So, hey, celebrate as many times as you want and need to.
Yes. That's what I said. I said, God, I thank you. I get to do it twice. Okay. So, yes, I was super excited because the first ceremony, like I said, I didn't know anybody. I didn't go to school with any of the people that were there. And I was one of one. So it was kind of special because I was the only doctor graduating at that campus. But then at this one, it was 70 of us. And so it was beautiful. They had us all kind of like our own rooms, like the doctor students and the masters. It was beautiful. So I really had a good time. It was awesome. Yeah, he took really good care of us.
Sounds awesome. Oh, wow. Yes, I am so happy for you. You deserve it. You worked hard. And so, yes, you're amazing. So,
yes. How have you been doing?
I've been doing so good. God's been amazing, just blessings and growing. It was exciting because last Friday I was able to MC for, this is going to be my 6th or 7th time now with the town of Garner for their Festival Latino. And it was a lot of fun. I posted a picture of my story, but I have to find, I took some behind the scenes, and I brought my tripod so that I can record myself emceeing. So I have to find time to edit that. So you all will see those pictures and footage soon. But it was heartwarming just to see the different cultures coming together, the different families, just seeing just the happy faces, dancing, music. It was just an amazing time. I loved it. And I'm just really appreciative of the town of Garner for always looking out for me, and saying, hey, Yesha, we want you back. You're an amazing MC. So thank you. Yes. It was truly amazing. So
I love it. That sounds like fun. Was it going on all weekend or was it just one day?
It was on Friday. They had the event from 6 to 9. Typically, in years past, they had it from 6 to 10. But then we realized, sometimes the acts run over. So this year they decided to shorten it, but it still ran a little over. But it was okay because people still had a good time. And the band that they closed with, which was Orquesta Caché, was amazing. And actually, I'm coordinating with them to have them in the future as feature guests. So Orquesta Caché. Yeah, I made some good connections with a lot of talented individuals there that night that we're going to have on our guest list coming soon.
Nice. So. I love it. Always working. You're always working. I love it.
Girl, you know how I do. Yes. I even got myself a large banner when I do my MC events to say, yes, book me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I love it.
Thank you. And with that in mind, it is, was it National Hispanic Heritage Month, which actually started on the 15th. And it goes all the way through October 15th. So for those who wasn't aware, September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month. So it's exciting to hear that when you went to your graduation last week, they were honoring the Latino community, especially speaking
Yes.
Spanish. And then all of these amazing festivals are happening in our area here in North Carolina, and I'm sure in other states as well. I know out in Wisconsin, they are having Puerto Rican Fest this weekend coming up also. So just celebrating the cultural diversity overall, just not necessarily one culture, but Latino culture as a whole, which encompasses just a lot of different variations of people. I mean, Costa Rican, El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua. I mean, hey, you name it, right? And so it's really good. And then all the yummy food. I always get excited about the foods too.
Mm. That's
Yeah.
what I like. The food is like just awesome, right? Just all the different cultures, the cuisine, it's so flavorful. Your mouth is happy, right? When you're eating these foods, your mouth is like, thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
putting all these flavorful foods in my mouth. I love it. I love it, right? Give me more. Give me more. It's so good. I love
Absolutely. That is awesome. And also, for those who didn't know, I just found out that it's also Self Improvement Month, which is good because it ties in perfectly with the guest that we have today. And so, Self Improvement Month, for those who did not know, is observed every September as a reminder to pause, reflect, and actively invest in becoming the best version of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and professionally. Is not just tied to one organization, but has grown into a recognized time for individuals, schools, companies, wellnesses, etc. And even at home too, like different homes, I'm sure they've captured this and started practicing more and more of this, even though we should be doing this all year. But
it. Yeah.
September is more of a reminder that it's time to reset. Summer is almost coming to an end. Routines are starting to shift, whether it be going back to school, back to work for some, because some teachers, I know they have some summer off. And so many people just see it as a fresh opportunity. So, hey, fall is almost approaching. So if you need to do some fall cleaning, like you do spring cleaning, get ready to do some fall cleaning because I'm sure you have a lot of stuff you might have to purge out that closet. So,
That's
just
it.
saying.
That's it. And I love it. Self-improvement month is, embarking on fall, because it kind of helps you to remember, like, to just fall back, right? To just kind of slow down, right? Because now the nighttime's going to be coming a lot sooner and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just really just to kind of fall back and to slow down with life. And I think it's great for self-improvement. Like you said, we should be doing it every day, every month. Like, hopefully people out there, you are doing that, okay, right? Because it's important to take care of yourself. And so, like you said, with our guest that's going to be on today, we'll be getting into that a little bit more as well, because self-improvement, right? It starts with you. When you are better, you make everyone around you better. You really, really do. Right? You guys feel energy. You walk into a room and you're like, what's going on here? The energy's off. And then it makes you feel all kind of, down and stuff. So take stock of what you're thinking, right? The thoughts. You got to think about what you're thinking about. People's like, what does it make? It makes a lot of sense. You got to think about what you're thinking about, because a lot of times those debilitating thoughts, those things that kind of weighs you down, to kind of keep you stuck, right? You got to kick those out of your brain, right? And so it starts here, right? Everything starts with the thought, and that's going to then, go into other areas of your body, your heart, and even just your whole well-being, right? As a person. So I like the whole self-improvement month. And so hopefully you all will be taking advantage and seeing how you can actually improve yourself on this month and the following months to come. So that's good stuff. I like that.
Absolutely. I agree with you and echo your words. And see, with me, with the type of person I am, I've found myself a couple of times, and now that I'm listening to you, I'm reflecting in the times that I've encountered situations like that where it feels kind of awkward. I'm that one who busts that bubble and say, "Hey, let's do something." I'm like let's pick me up a little bit. Let's change the energy, because I believe in that. It's one of those things where it's like when you walk in there and everything's like, rah, rah. We ain't got time for that. Let's change it up real quick. I'm that one. Be like, okay,
Absolutely.
let's do something. Let's change it. People might look at me crazy, but I'm like, hey, at least I'm trying. What are y'all doing? Whomping around,
Absolutely.
doing, so
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. And I'm getting comfortable with the whole being uncomfortable, right? Being the unique one. Because truly, when you think about it, we were all created to be unique, right? There's no one like you, there's no one like me. And that is amazing. I know a lot of
Mhm.
times, you're growing in your younger year, you're like trying to fit in, figure out who you are, and all of that stuff. And I'm changing that with my children. I'm like, they're not going to be walking around like my youngest is 8. And I'm like, he's not going to be walking around like, who am I trying? No, a firm foundation in the very beginning, even when he was in my womb, you know what I'm saying? Talking to him and telling him who he is, right? And even so now, and like we stand in the mirror and we repeat positive things to say, I am this, I am that, I'm the head, I'm the tail, I'm the borrower, not the lender, right? I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm a child of the Most High God. I am capable. I am like everything, right? And so he gets hyped about it. I can do hard things, like all of this stuff. So it sets that foundation. And so that way, as he's growing and maturing and becoming that teenage, like the pre-teens, 12, 13, it's always kind of awkward, always kind of hard, especially those middle school years. He's not going to be like most of the other children, right? He's going to know who he is. He's going to be solid in who he is. And hopefully that'll help other children as well. And two, it'll help him to be able to lead, right, when he needs to lead, and to follow when he needs to follow, because we're always going to lead and we're always going to follow. That's always going to happen in one's life, right? If you live long enough, that's going to happen with you, right? So yeah, so I said I want to begin to change that. People are always trying to figure it out. And it's like, you don't need to figure it out. We were already told who we are before we were even birthed into this earth. And so, yeah, we're making that happen.
That is awesome. And I love the fact that you're pouring into your child, your son. And I believe that foundation definitely starts at home, and you're practicing that, right? The words that the kids hear from home helps them develop who they become in the future. So I admire that you're doing that early on with your son. And even with me, when before I had my son, I was talking to him through the womb. I was like, "You're
Yes.
amazing. You can do everything." And I was having him listening to like classical music through my womb and stuff, because I was already helping him understand, when you come into this world, this is the good stuff that you can expect from it, right?
That's
Yeah.
it. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. We had one of our neighbors' kids came over, and he's such a sweetheart. And he's really a smart kid. He's like in a lot of the gifted programs at school. And he's a year older than my son and a grade ahead. And he came by, and his mom showed up. She works from home, so she had been on calls and all of that. And so he came over. We're just like a few houses down the road. And he came over. The next thing you know, the mom was like, where were you? Like, and he's like, I'm here. I'm okay. It's all good. They trust us and stuff. And he's like, I say, he's a good kid. But he was like, Mom, I need you to like do this and this and this. And she was doing it. She goes, what am I doing here? And I said, you're being a good mother. He was like, I need my shoes because we're going to go to the park later. So just before I had got him for the show, we were at the park and we went and got some snow cones and that kind of thing. And it was his first time at Pelicans. Shout out to Pelicans. I love Pelicans. Their snow cones are totally amazing, right? They're just really good. And I didn't know this was a thing. So the couple before us, they ordered sugar-free snow cones. Didn't know that was a thing, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was like, oh, is that a thing? And I wonder how that tastes. I didn't get any for myself, but I was like, the next time I'm going to try that. Sugar-free snow cones, who knew? But it was his first time going there. And he's like, these are the best snow cones ever. Because it's all about the ice when it comes to the snow cone. Okay, y'all?
Yes. Yes. That is
So it was really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. Oh, look at that. You made that a positive impression in his life at that moment, giving him those tasty snow cones. It's been years since I've had snow cones, so I can't even remember how they came. It's
You
like
got to try one. You got to do
Is it like a sushi?
It is. But sometimes the ice, like they have, because the Kona ice is a little bit different than the ice that Pelican has. And it's the texture of the ice. Some of it is a lot softer and some of it is kind of more harder and kind of crunchy like. So this one is a lot softer and stuff. And so I like that one better. It just kind of just melts in your mouth. But yeah, it's really good.
Okay. And this place Pelicans, is that out in Raleigh, Wake Forest, or where exactly it's at?
It's a franchise. Yeah, it's here in Wake Forest. I'm in Wake Forest, but it's a franchise. So I believe they got them out in Europe. They got them all over because we've seen them in South Carolina. We've seen them in Florida. They're everywhere. It's a franchise. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's the first time I'm hearing about Pelicans. That's interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to have to definitely look them up and try them out one day. That is awesome. Yes.
Good. Now I
Well,
know.
we're gonna transition over to bring our guest. She's patiently waiting behind the scenes, and I'm excited to
Let's
get
do
this
it.
conversation started. Yes. All right. Well, everyone, today's episode, we're thrilled to welcome an amazing, fierce 60 plus model who is boldly redefining beauty, confidence, and representation at every age. This individual that we have here, special guest, proudly represents the generation, often the unseen, underestimated, and undervalued. I love it. Yes, yes. Yet she just disrupts that narrative every time she steps into that runway in front of a camera. From a runway to print, commercials to film, she is sexy, edgy, elegant, and timeless, proving that beauty does not fade, it evolves. This individual doesn't ask for permission to be seen because she commands the attention. But her talents go far beyond modeling. She's also an athlete, a dancer, actor, and a seasoned speaker for over 30 years of corporate leadership experience. Whether she's running marathons, performing on stage, or inspiring through her words, our special guest embodies a truth that there are no limits when passion meets purpose. So we are excited to have this special guest. Get ready for a powerful and uplifting conversation that is unstoppable force who's breaking stereotypes, replacing them with authenticity, and reminding each and every one of us that all the confidence, regardless, has no age limit. So, welcome to Oyandia TV, Donyae, aka Donna Peek. Welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Hey there, how are you?
Hello, hello.
Who's that amazing person you just described?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And with that amazing bio, who do you say you are, ma'am?
Well, I mean, bio's fairly accurate, I would say. I'm someone who has pursued excellence in everything I do from my childhood. I'm an achiever. I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always looking to better myself professionally or personally. I'm an avid reader. And historical fiction is one of my favorite genres because I love learning and I always learn something new about the world, about history, about historical context by reading books in that genre. And so being better and doing better and inspiring others is something that has motivated me most of my life. So I bring that from my childhood as a student, through my college years and my corporate career, and now in my retirement and modeling aspects of my career, I do that as well. So
Impressive. So let me ask you this. Growing up, did you see somebody that you admired that really instilled these values in you, or how did you come to become this person that you are today?
So I would say stems from my background. So my mother emigrated to the United States from Jamaica when she was about 18. She was the first of 11 other siblings to emigrate to the United States. And a few years after she got here, she met my father, who moved to New York from North Carolina as part of the Great Migration. He was a Black man in the 50s. You could not get a job in North Carolina. So he moved to New York, and they met and married and had 3 kids. And growing up, I guess it's partially driven from the immigrant experience, right, is trying to make it and knowing the best way to make it is by getting educated, doing well in school, applying yourself, setting goals. And so I had a mother that drove me to that and was very focused on me academically. I was a gifted student. I got skipped in school. I graduated college at 16. I was always a late bloomer in every way. And I think the kind of interesting, I was talking to my husband about this, kind of the common thread in my life has been being in groups or environments and spaces where I'm underestimated. So I was a STEM kid as a Black female, minority female in STEM. Not a lot of people that look like me. I went to a specialized science and math high school in New York called Stuyvesant High School. It's one of the top science and math high schools in the country. Not a lot of people that look like me there. I majored in engineering in college. Not a lot of people that look like me there. And then I had a career in senior sales and marketing roles in the high-tech industry. Also not a lot of people that look like me there. And I've been modeling off and on since college, but I'm still modeling now, and I'm 63 years old, and there are definitely not a lot of people that you see that are my age modeling. And so one of the things that's interesting about being in those spaces as someone who's not fully represented in those spaces is that, yes, it was challenging. Yes, I faced all kinds of people dismissing me or underestimating me, but I always turned that into motivation. So while I was being underestimated and their back was turned, I was busy grinding and learning and sharpening my skills and getting better and better. And then here I come in the periphery. And then by the time you see me, you're watching my back because I just propelled me to success. So being underestimated and undervalued and, people having low expectations, I always in my life, use that as kind of something that spurred me to succeed and drove me to succeed and demonstrate that I'm not someone that you can underestimate me once, but you won't make that mistake twice.
I love that. I love that. And good for you. Now, being in engineering, being, kind of almost, just one of one or one of very few,
Right.
In all these different circles and being underestimated. So coming from engineering now into modeling, was modeling something that was kind of like on your bucket list, or was it a dream? Like, how did you come about getting into modeling?
So I've always liked clothes. Like I remember earliest memories. Well, first of all, I was a nerd, right? So I hated the summer. I couldn't wait for the fall when I would get to go back to school. But part of the thing I loved about the fall and back to school time was we would go back to school shopping. And when I got home from back to school shopping, I would try all the clothes on that my mom, bought me to go back to school. And I just loved, especially fall fashions were my favorite fashions. And I would sew clothes for my Barbie dolls when I was a kid, and did rudimentary sewing when I was small. And then when I got to college, a friend asked me to be in a fashion show, and I was like, sure. And I did it, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then in my 20s, I lived outside of Philadelphia, and so I remember going to a model call, and I happened to meet someone that modeled for a Philadelphia designer. And I went to her showroom in Philadelphia, and I was screaming. I just had such passion for her design. So I actually wound up working as a in-store showroom model for her. And I did fashion shows for her and connected her to boutiques. And so I love that work. And then when I moved to Raleigh, I started modeling for a few local boutiques. I also joined an organization called Models for Charity, where we provide models for organizations that are doing charity events, luncheons to raise money, and we provide the models. In fact, before coming to join you today, I was at Ronald McDonald House because Models for Charity was donating our time at Ronald McDonald House today. So we do things like that in the community. But I just love, I've always loved clothes. I've always loved fashion. I consider fashion works like art, like a work of art. And I love channeling different personas when I'm either modeling, walking a runway, or in front of a camera. And then, in fact, was the origins of my stage name, Donyae A. I'm a dancer. I do a dance called Chicago Stepping. And I took a private lesson with an instructor. And when I was new in the dance, I kind of lacked confidence. And he said, you need to dance with more confidence. We need a stage name for you. And he called me Donyae. And so when I'm dancing, when I'm modeling, when I need to kind of channel a different persona, because I'm kind of not a showy, like people find this funny, but I'm not a real showy look at me person. I know. So Donna would feel a little self-conscious, strutting her stuff on a runway, but Donyae can walk out there and look at me and look at this. I'm bad. Look how bad I look in this outfit. You can look bad just like this. I'm that girl. I can be that when I channel Donyae as a persona. So clothes and fashion are just something that I've always had a lot of passion about, as my husband would tell you.
I love that.
Was it space?
I love it. It's like the alter ego coming out. He was like, this isn't Donna. Right. This is Donyae.
Donyae. Don't have to worry about it. I figured I'm full of myself because this is not me. I'm humble. This is Donyae.
I love that. And we had a juicy conversation right before jumping on regarding the stigma that most people place on age, right? And so you being considered a 60+ model, how do you push through that? What keeps you, like you were mentioning earlier, you just keep through the barrier? I mean, I know that you have Donyae as your alter ego, but what else do you use as a source to say, hey, forget y'all, this is me. I know what I'm about, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it is something that I dealt with in the beginning, because you go to casting calls and often, like, I'm the oldest person there, or one of only, maybe there might be another person there. And if they're near my age, they're still younger than me. Maybe they're in their 40s or 50s. So I used to kind of feel some kind of way about it. But then I kind of said, you got to just let that go, because it's about your walk. This is just like your professional career. Like when you were, VP of strategic alliances for XYZ company, it didn't matter. They weren't asking you how old you were. They wanted to know what your results were, what skills you were bringing to the table, how you were managing and leading your team. Those are the things that mattered. So at the end of the day, not that there's not ageism and all the other isms in the fashion industry, because there absolutely are. But for this job that I'm auditioning for today, I'm going to show up as my authentic self. I'm going to give these casting directors what they say they're looking for, which is someone who can walk and command attention and walk with poise and confidence. I can be edgy Donyae, I can be sexy Donyae, I can be elegant Donyae. I can be versatile in my what I channel on the runway. But when I step on the runway, I'm going to make you look. I'm going to command the attention of the room. And if you're a designer that wants people to look at the clothes and wants somebody to bring life to their designs, then you're going to pick me. And if you don't, that's fine, because I'm not for everyone. But the ones that I am for will find me, and they'll only find me if I show up every day, at every audition, at every show, as my authentic self, and bring everything that I am and all my excellence, all my passion for this craft to the table every time I show up. So that's kind of how I
love it. Yeah. I love that. I love that you said when you're on that runway, when you're out, you say you're going to make them look. Because that is key. That is key, right? Making them look. A lot of people kind of get caught up when they're modeling. I think some people kind of forget what they're modeling, whether it's a piece of jewelry or the clothes or whatever it is, right? They kind of forget that. But it sounds like you don't have that problem. And, going back to, kind of focus on the whole age benchmarking, because we know it is a real thing. We were sharing backstage. I said, I don't like to tell my age, because it's not because I don't really care if people know how old I am, but it's just like, it comes with expectations. It comes with premeditated thoughts about, oh, I thought you were this old, or I thought you were that old, or this young, or that, and I'm just like, it's just me, like showing up as your authentic self. We were talking earlier about the whole self-improvement, and it sounds like you got that right with the whole authenticity, of yourself. Because if you're showing up as your authentic self, it means that you've done some work. It means that you've improved in some areas, right? So that you can be, right, that true authentic person. And I love your outlook on it. I love how you go in looking at it, saying, I might not be for everybody, but I'm for somebody. And when I'm on that stage, I'm gonna make you look okay. I love it. I love it.
At the end of the day, you can't control what people think about you. If you spend your time worrying about, oh, what is this person going to think? And what is that person going to think? Or you'll drive yourself nuts. So you have to just turn that, it's just noise. You just have to turn that noise off so that you make space for you and your energy and your spirit and your presence. And you just walk out there with that. And when they see that, that is timeless. That has no age, right? Presence and spirit are timeless. So when I walk out there, I'm just going to channel that and be me, because everything else is taken. And I'm the only Donna Peek, I'm the only Donyae that God created. And it would be a travesty for me to take his creation and try to morph it into somebody else's expectations. Because people, this is the problem with the times we're living in now with social media, because social media just creates this distorted view of people, and it creates this comparison, like people always comparing themselves to other people that they see on social media, and social media is a mirage. And I always tell people the grass is only greener on the other side because it's fertilized with, and I use an expletive, but I'll say manure, right? So that's why it's greener, because it's fertilized with manure. So don't believe that. Don't believe that. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't worry about Susie and Betty and Barb. Don't worry about what they're doing, because half of what you're seeing on social media is fake and not real. I would rather, there's not a single person, celebrity, billionaire, whatever, that I would trade places with, period. I mean that with my chest. There's not a person on this earth I would change places with, because I know me and I know my problems and the issues that I have to deal with. I don't want to step into somebody else's life with a set of problems that you don't know anything about because they're hiding it, behind a mask. So I would rather live my life with my personal challenges and all than step into someone else's shoes. So, that's how I approach life. And that's why I used to be self-conscious about saying my age. But if somebody asked me my age, I'm like, I'm 63. Yes. And I just ran an Olympic duathlon on Saturday. I did the North Carolina half Ironman bike and run relays last year. I run half marathons. I dance. I cycle. I play pickleball every day. I'm active. I'm healthy. I'm living a joy-filled life. What?
Yes. I love it.
What do you got to say to that? So I'm like,
you're living your best life, ma'am. That's what we gotta say. You're living your best life.
If that makes you feel some kind of way, or if that, if you're saying you like, I wear bikinis when I go on vacation. Don't tell me I'm too old. I'm too old to what? Huh? I look good. So I'm gonna wear a bikini as long as I feel comfortable in a bikini and my husband likes me in my bikinis, okay? So don't tell me that I'm too old to do anything. Any expectation is a you problem, not a me problem.
That part.
That's a you problem, not a me problem. So.
I'm loving this. This is juicy. I love it. Yes. And so I'm really glad that you brought this topic up, because this really coincides with Self-Improvement Month that Cece and I were speaking of when we started the show. And so from a self-improvement standpoint, I do recall that you offline before we jumped on the actual podcast that you were mentioning you've been doing this for years now, since your 30s. So walk us through how that transition started for you with self-improvement and wanting to become a better version of yourself each and every day.
So on the health and fitness aspect of things, like I said earlier, I've always been a late bloomer. So when I first met my husband, he was an avid cyclist. He'd go to the gym. We were just talking about this the other day. I said, when we lived in Philly, I wish I'd gone to the gym with you, and I wish I'd learned cycling back then. I just came to it later in life. So I played tennis when I was younger, but then I got focused on my, career and kind of lost focus on that. And then kind of slowly over time, I started making changes to my diet. I stopped drinking sodas. I stopped eating beef. So I just removed things from my diet and replaced them with things that are healthy. And I think I just saw that I started running in my 30s, but I did my first official race, like a 5K, like 12 or 13 years ago, was my first 5K. And then I did the 5K and I was like, maybe I could do a 10K. And then I did a 10K and I learned a certain kind of training mode for distance running. And I started doing that training. And I did my first half marathon. And then I joined a multi-sport women's team called Amazons and Angels. And these are some absolute beasts that do full Ironmans and, century rides and all this kind of stuff. So I joined that group and they motivate me and have me doing things I didn't think possible, because part of how I stay fit is I set goals. I sign up for a race, like I signed up for that Olympic duathlon, because it forces me to train. I'm not going to be able to complete this race if I'm not on my bike or on my feet training. And so having a goal that scares you a little is just kind of necessary in life, not just in fitness. But if your goal doesn't scare you a little bit, you're not dreaming big enough. Because it should be something that, I don't know if I can do this, because then you got to hold on to faith and action, right? You got to pray like it depends on God and work like it depends on you. And that combination is what kind of propels you to achieving your goals. So that's kind of been my fitness journey, but my pursuit of excellence journey I came out of the womb pursuing excellence in everything that I do. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it fully. I'm going to do it the best that I can. I'm going to do the things necessary to be excellent, which is to ask for feedback and accept feedback and iterate. And every time I do it, I'm going to do it better than I did it the last time. I'm going to identify people who are excellent, and I'm going to interview them and follow them and ask them to mentor me. And I've done that my whole life. In anything that I decide I want to pursue, whether it's running or cycling or my professional career or modeling, I'm always looking for role models. I'm looking for people who are excellent. I never feel like I've arrived. I mean, at 63, I haven't arrived in anything. I'm still evolving. There's always another hill to climb. There's always another thing to master or hone or get better at. And I learn from people who are 30, 40 years younger than me. Like, if you've got the skills, I don't care how old you are. Like, I am not ego. Like, my ego is out the window. I'm like, if you got something that can help me be better, I don't care how old you are, So that's kind of the mindset that I've always had in just how I'm wired. And so I apply that mindset to anything that I'm endeavoring to do.
I love that. I love that. I love that, you don't put yourself in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you learn from people that are younger than you and people that are older than you. I've met some people that were older than me, and I thought I was going to get all this sage wisdom and advice. I'm like, yeah, they're 70, 80 plus, I'm going to get, and they were, it wasn't it. Okay. It just wasn't. I couldn't believe it. I was like, more knowledgeable and more wise about. It really broke my heart because I'm like, you're here 80, whatever, 70, 80, whatever. And I'm like, you trying to like be in your 20s, like that's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to kind of evolve and mature in some things. Not to say that you can't live and do all the things that you want to do, but you're trying to, it's just like they were still trying to fit into a box of what they thought, you know what I'm saying? Or what they're actually currently thinking. I love what you said about excellence. I watched a Mel Robbins podcast and she had a young lady on there. Don't remember her name, but I do know that she is the owner of a brand called Good American. Never heard of the brand either, but it's for plus size women. And so she's like one of the first, I guess, billionaires or something like that, you know, I think she's in her 40s or something. But anyway, she was so powerful. Her energy in the podcast, it was everything, right? And I was like, this lady is me. Cause like I get so excited. People's like, Sandra, bring it down a bit, you know, but it just overflows. You know, it just comes. And she said something about excellence. And I know in the word of God, it talks about excellence, you know, decency and all that kind of stuff and excellence. So when she said that, she's like, I do everything in excellence, everything. And when you were talking, and I began to adopt more of that mindset. I've always done things in decency and in order and with the spirit of excellence, but it's like I need to take it to another level. And when you talked about, you know, not being comfortable, you know, if you're comfortable, your goal's not big enough. That dream's not big enough, right? You got to get a little uncomfortable. Like, can I achieve this thing? I don't know if I can or not, but the excellence. So I wake up, you know, with the mindset and in the spirit of excellence. I brush my teeth, right? With the spirit of excellence. I'm driving my car. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be the best at this thing. Whatever I do, when I walk into that grocery store, I'm walking in, you know, in excellence. When I greet and meet and speak to people, I'm going to be speaking to them in a spirit of excellence. And I'm telling you, y'all, when you adopt this mindset, it's something that happens to you intrinsically, internally, right? To where your shoulders kind of pop back a little bit, right? That head goes up a little bit. You walk like Donyae on the walkway, okay? You do that, you see? So I love that you said that about the whole excellence thing, because I believe it is very, very key to having a healthy mindset. And even when we were sitting here, you were talking about healthy. I think of the word healthy, and in the word healthy is heal, right? Heal, right? And thy, thy. So in the Bible, we know thy is like, you know, you, and then thou is like, or you, right? And then but so if you think about it, I'm just here, y'all. I'm mulling over, I'm processing, right? But healing yourself, right? I thought that was so key and so paramount when you mentioned that. And God, you know, he's always talking to me, y'all. You know, I ain't ashamed to let y'all know what be happening. You be downloading right here on the line. He's downloading, okay? So I'm giving it to you. But I love that. And I love that about you. We can see that just in your demeanor and how you are here on the show, how you're carrying yourself, hair, your face is beat. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're looking good. It's the excellence. So we see that. So I want to say thank you, right, for walking the walk, right, and talking the talk and showing up in the way that you do, because I know that you carry this out your daily life. This is a lifestyle for you, right? I love it. I totally love it. So I just want to applaud you.
Well, thank you so much. But you know, we can all be this way, right? We can. I mean, I just, it's not. I'm not extraordinary. I mean, I don't say that to be to downplay myself, because I think I'm great, and I know I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. I know that, but I also recognize that the things that I do and the mindset that I have, others have, and others can have. And what holds people back is societal expectations, or lack of self-esteem, or comparison, or worrying about what other people think when other people don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Stop worrying about what other people think. You've got to, the difference between the three of us and the people that are struggling in this regard are we've all done the work. I can just tell by this conversation, the way we talked, you know, backstage, that you people who have done the work meaning done the self-reflection, identify the sources of trauma in your life, get healing from that trauma, forgive where you need to forgive, forget where you need to forget, process, you know, any sources of trauma in your life, and coming out of that process with a sense of accountability and ownership for your life. You are responsible for your life. The decisions that you make every day forge your future. You make good decisions now, they pay off, they pay dividends, and they compound over time. You make bad decisions, you're going to have to undo those bad decisions, and you don't get the benefit of compounding. So you can blame your parents, your boss, your boyfriend, this dating guy, the apps. You can blame all that stuff for the state of your life and cede your personal power to the universe. Or you can take ownership of your life and say, despite my circumstances, despite what I may have endured, from this moment on, I am going to take responsibility and accountability for the decisions that I make moving forward. And I'm going to chart a path for my life that's going to take me on a different, higher, better, stronger, more self-fulfilled trajectory than the one that I'm on now. And I'm willing to do the work that it's going to take, which may mean removing people from my circle that don't serve me, removing bad habits, bad situations, bad habits from my lifestyle, and make change. Change is hard. Change is absolutely hard. But if you're willing to do it and put in the work, you can find happiness and joy. And the only way you can tap into sources of joy and happiness is you've got to get rid of the noise, and you have to listen to that internal voice. It's I'm Christian, so I believe it's the Holy Spirit. But whatever your faith is, there is something internally that is speaking to you. And if you stop running around or running away from your problems, because wherever you go, there you'll be, you can hear that voice. And that voice is slowly directing you to where your destiny and purpose is and where your sources of joy are, and just follow the joy and build joy in your life. And you can live a life of excellence and purpose. Like it's hard, but it's not difficult, if that makes sense, right? You got to do the work, and you got to confront some things that maybe are uncomfortable or maybe painful. You might need to acknowledge some things about yourself that you don't like, or that you've done that you don't like. But if you force yourself to have these tough conversations with yourself and be honest, brutally honest with yourself, you can get on, the right trajectory. And I'm not the friend to come to be, if you want somebody to tell you what you want to hear. I'm the friend to come to that's going to tell you what you need to hear. And everybody needs to do that for themselves, or have a friend like that in their life to keep you. My husband is that for me. He keeps me in check. If I'm engaged in behavior or done something that's like not, you're better than that, Don. I'm like, yeah, shucks, you're right, So he's always checking me and helping me to check myself. And, if you do those things, you can have a happy and fulfilled life. So, I'm not unique. We're not unique. It's just, well, let me say this. We are differentiated people, because there's a whole lot of people that are not willing to do the work. So I'm going to show up, and I'm always going to be professional. If I say that I'm going to do something, you can just about take it to the bank. Like 99, unless there's some, in an accident on the way, I'm doing it. But what I found in life is that not everybody's word is bond. And there are plenty of unprofessional people that, don't do what they say they're going to do. And so being excellent is differentiating, but you can do it if you're willing to do the work. You can have that mindset if you're willing to do the work. So
Yeah, I love that. Earlier, when you were speaking about your, was it triathlon or the Olympic?
well, I learned though. Here's funny fact about triathlon. I learned to swim at 60 years old so that I could compete in my first triathlon.
That's impressive.
My
Yeah.
my swim was ugly, and swimming was the hardest physical endeavor I've ever undertaken in my life. Like swimmers, hats off. That is hard. It's hard psychologically. It's hard physically. You exercising every bone, every muscle in your body. It is hard, and it's very hard to learn as an adult, and exceptionally hard as a 60-year-old woman. But I did it so that I could compete. I was terrified, but I did it so that I could compete in my first triathlon. I did that triathlon. I was first in my age group, podiumed, and then I hung up my swim cap. I was like, I'm done.
That's
Now I mostly
amazing.
do duathlon. So the North Carolina half Ironman I did last year, a friend of mine did the swim. It's a 1.2-mile swim. I did the bike and the run. It's a 57-mile bike ride, and then a 13 half marathon run back to back. So I did that, and I was like, "Holy cow! I can't believe I did that."
Oh
But
my
I
gosh.
did.
Oh my gosh. So
There are 25-year-olds
what is that
that
like?
have Ironmans. Let me tell you.
Wow. What is that like though, like for your body once you're done? So I've done like a marathon. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was active duty military. I was moving to Italy. I was jet lagged. I was on different time zones. It was a lot. And when I showed up at my physical therapy clinic, they were, getting ready for that. And so as I just wanted to go to sleep. So I was just saying yes to whatever because I just wanted to get to my hotel to get to sleep. And they're like, we're going to do a marathon and we're going to, as a team. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. Sure. But I'm thinking like a 5K, like it didn't register because I'm tired. And so then like, the next couple of days, it was like, yeah, we're going to go out. We're going to start running. And I'm like, I don't really need to run for this. I can do a 5K. They're like, no, we're doing a marathon. I'm like, wait a minute. How long is that? And they're like, yeah, it's 26.2. Like what black woman? I guess you and me. Okay. Who does that? Right. Because I'm telling you that 26.2, don't leave off the two because that 0.2 will get you. But tell me, what is it like when you train for it and when you're done? Like, how did your body feel? Tell me about that. How do you even? Well, you talked a little bit about saying you're going to do it and then getting on the calendar. But how does your body feel after? This is amazing.
So what I tell people is that you can do anything that you train for. So if you have a desire to do something, if you put the plan in place and you have the grit to execute and the commitment to execute against that plan, the race is the easy part. So the hardest part of that half Ironman relay was the training, like having to get on my bike and do 40 and 50-mile rides, having to during the week get on my trainer upstairs, which is a bike with the back wheel off so I can train indoors, get in that trainer and do an hour and 90-minute training sessions, to do what they call bricks, where you ride your bike for 30 miles and then you put your running shoes on and you immediately run for 3 miles so that you get your body used to getting off the bike and running. So the hardest part was the training because it takes a significant amount. I have friends who've done full Ironmans, which is a 2-mile swim, a 100-mile bike ride, and a full marathon run. It takes them all day to do it, but they're on their right. And that training is life consuming. Like you're training constantly. Half Ironman is significant training, but it's not anywhere near the training for a full Ironman. So you can do anything that you train for. And so I trained, and I was doing it with several other athletes that are part of my women's multi-sport group. So we trained together and we encouraged each other, and we did the race together, and we'd see each other on the course and we'd encourage each other. I had some hip issues. Like, the hardest part is also keeping your body injury free for a long period of time so that you can actually race. So my mistake Dr. CC, was I had signed up to do my first marathon because I'd never done a full marathon. I'd done halves, but I'd never done a full because every time I finished a half, it was demotivating for doing like the thought of just being halfway done after finishing. I was like, I don't know. So by the time I had the interest in doing a full marathon, I'm like 60 and more, a little bit more, as you age, you're just a little bit more injury prone. So I was having metatarsal issues, which I said, okay, I can't do a full marathon. I think I'm past the age now to be able to do it and do it healthy. So after that full Ironman, I moved my marathon. It was a Richmond marathon. I moved it to a half marathon. Well, the following week after that half Ironman, the training program called for me to run 10 miles. And I should have been smart enough to say, you just did 57 miles on your bike and ran 13.1 miles. Maybe just take it easy this week. But I didn't. I tried to run 10 miles and my hip said, not today. So I injured my hip. And I'm just after a year getting over that hip injury. So you have to be able to listen to your body and not do dumb stuff like I did, so that you don't overtrain and injure yourself. Because if you're injured, then you can't perform and then you can't train. So that's the hardest part is the training.
Hooey, that sounds tough. I salute you, girl. Just listening to you, I'm like, woo.
But that's what motivates me to say. You have to have a goal.
Like, oh.
I salute you. But what I was going to say earlier about what you were mentioning when you were speaking to us about that, the fact that you set your goal high and you prayed, right? You prayed, you had that faith with prayer, and then you put action into it as well. And so I was going to correlate that as a reminder for people. James 2:26 says, faith without work is dead. So people can say they pray all day and do this and that with prayer, which is good. That's half the battle. But the other half is you have to put in the work. Because if you pray,
I tell my son, you can't have a physics test and pray that you pass, but not pick up a book and study and think God's going to honor that. Like
He's on the osmosis.
That ain't how it works. You got to pray like it depends on God and work like it depends on you. That's the combination that gets it done.
That's right. That's right. I love that.
Some grace on top of your preparation, but you got to prepare, and that's on you.
Absolutely. And I felt that's important because I know a good amount of people that do that. They're like, oh, I pray. And then I ask them, okay, so what do you do to follow up? Did you do any? Oh, no, I just leave it to God. God's going to handle it. I'm like, but
God ain't honoring that.
Like, you have to meet God halfway. Yeah, you're praying, but you have to put action into your words. It's just words. Correct. Right? I mean,
correct.
So thank you for saying that about faith and prayer and action. That's what I really wanted to highlight right there is faith, prayer, action. Right. Faith.
Right.
It's just words if you don't do no action. Exactly. So as a follow-up for that as well, I wanted to ask you, many women, especially over the age of 50, I've noticed that there's a good amount that seem to struggle with feeling invisible, right? Or feeling like not good enough. So what advice would you give them about reclaiming their power and visibility and just rekindling with their old self?
Well, I think it comes back to, and I kind of went through this in preparing for retirement, because the mistake that most people, women in particular, make in retirement is they plan for the finances, which is the easy part, right? You can read books, you can have a financial planner. That's really the easy part, it's just the discipline. But they don't do any preparation for the mental and emotional part of retirement. Like, what is your purpose going to be when you're not? We assign a lot of our purpose to our job and our career. So when that is over and you're putting that down, who are you? Who are you? And what are you? And what is your purpose that's not tied to your career? And so doing that work so that you understand who you are and what your purpose is, and you disconnect it from what you do, the sooner you can do that work, the more you can step into your later decades, your 50s and 60s, into your retirement years with a sense of joy, because you already know who you are. Because what you see is like people will retire and then they don't know who they are and what to do and how to occupy their days. So they panic and then they go back and work part-time, not because they need to financially, but because they don't know what to do with themselves. They don't have any sense of purpose. They don't know what brings them joy. They don't know what they love and what they, because they've never really spent time investing in understanding who they are and what switches them on, what energizes them, what are they passionate about. And so if you're somebody who's like in 50 plus and you're struggling with that, I'd say just go back to your childhood and when you were young and you had dreams and goals and you'd play with your toys and dolls, whatever. What kinds of things did you dream about? What things did you always say you wanted to do and you never made time for? Find places and space in your life before you retire, before you get older, to find places and spaces to do things that will bring you joy, even if it's experimenting. Like, well, I've never tried golf. Let me try that. I don't know. I don't know what is it like when somebody invites you to do something, or you have a friend or a coworker that's engaged in some hobby that you never would have considered. Oh, be open-minded to expose yourself to all kinds of experiences, because who knows, you might get exposed to something and it just lights something up in you, and you're like, oh my gosh. And it might change the absolute course, of your life. So when you're exposed to that stuff and you feel that the sense of something turning on in you, follow that. And so just a funny story on that, Niger Catrice, the model. I met her exactly about a year ago. She modeled for Mark Taylor at the CAM show in Raleigh. And when she walked down that runway, I audibly gasped. Talk about somebody who walks with presence. And that she just switched something on in me. I just saw something in her, and that caused a change in my life. I chased her down and introduced myself to her. I go to her lab classes because I'm always working on my craft. And that's just an example of, you just never know who you're going to meet or whose path you're going to cross or what you might get exposed to that will turn something on in you. So if you're at that age or you're not sure, then you just need to kind of open your heart and your mind to new and different experiences, to find the things that switch you on, and then make space in your life to do those things, to have joy. You don't want to defer joy till later on when I retire. I'm going to make time to be joyful. No, you want to have joy right now, whatever age you are, whatever stage you're in, you want to make space and room for joy. So that's what I would tell any woman that's at that point and is feeling unseen or invisible, because when you are doing something that brings you joy, that turns you on, that lights you up from the inside out, you can't help but be seen. You're going to attract people and positivity and energy. The universe is going to open for you because you're like a light. You're a beacon of light in a dark world, and it's impossible to be invisible when you're lit up from the inside. So that's the work.
Beautiful words. I love that. Yes, 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 yes. Cece, do you have any other questions that you want to ask?
No, I'm just like total mic drop. You've been everything for me tonight. Okay. just loving it. I love being in circles with like-minded women. You just can elevate, you can grow. It's so freeing, right? When you're in a room with like-minded people, because there's no cattiness or pettiness or any of it's like
No,
left at the door.
we
It's like
can
we're
all
trying
win.
to, you know,
Right.
that's
Right.
it.
We can all
You
win. We
know,
can, the pie, first of all, scarcity mentality is a mentality of the enemy. I serve a God of abundance, cattle on 1,000 hills
that's
for all of
right.
us. Right? The pie is not fixed, the pie is limitless. We can make the pie bigger. If you win, that doesn't mean I lose. You can win and you can win and I can win. There is plenty of opportunity out here for all of us. I don't compete with my sisters. I'm
That's
not
right.
competing with you. Even if we're at the same model call or whatever it is, if this is for me, it's for me. If it's not and it's for you, yay, girl, go do that thing. I'm gonna come. If I can make it, I'm gonna come see you and support you. Because I'm not stressed. Like I know what's for me is for me, and I don't like. I like community. I don't like clicks is the opposite of community. I don't like clicky behavior. I like inclusivity. I like community. I like uplift in being environments where women are uplifting one another and supporting one another and cheering each other on. I don't like to be in environments where women are tearing each other down because that's a sign of the enemy is operating in there, and that's insecurity and unhealed trauma that's going on there. And like you girl, go get your healing. And when you get your healing, then we can commune. But I'm not gonna like you talking about such and such and want me to join you in tearing another sister down. That ain't who I am. That's not what I do. I uplift. So when you're ready to uplift on this little place over here, then we can talk. But you want to tear people down, then you're gonna be over there doing that. And I don't have. I'm no drama Donna,
Absolutely.
and I keep my
Yeah.
island of
I like
peace.
it. No drama, Donna. I like it.
My island of peace, and I want people who are. I speak life into people, and I want people speaking life into me. And if you're not doing that, then I can love you, but I'm gonna be loving you from a distance. I don't want that energy in my life.
That's it. Yeah, it's a
So,
different energy when you're around like-minded people. It's just,
yes,
it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a weight's been lifted and the people are there
yeah,
truly cheering you on. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, this is it. This is my tribe. This is my people. And so I always try to find myself in circles with women like that because I have done the work. And for those that's needing to do the work, like you said, let them go and get the healing and then come on back, when you get there, and we'll be
right,
waiting for you, cheering for you while you're going through it. But
right,
that's just not where I am right now. Yeah. I love
right,
it. I love
exactly,
it.
exactly.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you for those beautiful words. So we're shortly going to pivot over to the last minute words. But before that, I was curious to know, and I'm sure the audience and listeners want to know what is coming up next for you? What projects, goals that we can keep an eye out?
Ooh, so interestingly enough, I have a planning session, I guess you would call it, with Niger tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about goals for my modeling career. I have some upcoming shows. So I'm in Danville Fashion Week. I'm in a show in Charlotte on Sunday. I have a few model calls coming up in Charlotte. I was just cast for the Charlotte Fashion Collective. That's in October, I think. So I'm kind of, still doing my runway thing, and I've still working on my portfolio. I sent you the link to my website with my about me and my digitals and my portfolio. So I'm constantly working on building that and just, taking my professionalism up to the next notch and level. And looking forward to 2026 and doing more shows, hopefully doing some more commercial work. And then just expanding my territory, expanding my network. I was going to tell you, Dr. Cece, I live in Wake Forest too. So I'd love to meet you in face to face instead of in a screen. And I didn't know yet that you were in Garner. See, so I thought you were out of state actually. So I would love to have a positive meeting of sisters face to face. So So yeah, so that's what's on the horizon for me, and then more work with Models for Charity. We've got plans for 2026 and other shows we're going to do. So
that is
Absolutely.
amazing.
I'm down. We got to meet up because we're just we're here. Yeah. Let's do it, girls. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm down too. So we can definitely coordinate that when we get off and offline. We'll make that happen for sure. Yes. Another amazing segment. We're going to pivot over to our last minute words. And this is an opportunity for you to just share your social media, remind people how they can follow you. And if you have a quote, motivational message, whatever it is, any last minute word that you want to tell the viewers, listeners.
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Donna_Peek_actor. So I post stories and reels on there fairly often. My favorite quote actually is a quote that I've had in my office from my 20s when I worked for IBM, and I've been carrying it around to me, and I have it in my home office now. And it's just something about this quote that just has always resonated with me. And it's by this 18th century German writer. And it's, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So that's always, I kind of look at that and I go, just dream big and do it. Start, begin. The begin it is the part that I like, is I don't just dream it on a piece of paper. You got to go do it and begin it and start the process. So that's kind of the quote that's always motivated me.
That is amazing. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Cece, you are up next. Last minute words.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much, Donna, for just taking time out of your schedule to be with us on this day. I know Oyendia TV audience, they were blessed. Okay. I was completely blessed. Okay. We need to pass around an offering plate. Okay. Because it was good. Okay. I'm loving it. But I'm your girl, to enter the actions with Girls with Gigs and Inspire for Purpose, right? So it's all about mindset strategy, right? With me, it's all about getting you clear about your fears so that you can actually move forward, right? Life is short, just like Donna was saying. And so you got to begin it, right? In that quote, you got to begin it. My quote for you all is, remember, nothing positive ever came from negative thinking. So always keep a positive mindset about yourself. You can find me at girlswithgigs.com and also on inspireforpurpose.com. And as I always like to say, love and light and inspire for purpose.
Beautiful, beautiful. You all don't go anywhere. We still have a little bit more of the show left. We're going to hit over to our last minute words with the sponsors. So we will be right back.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyendia TV Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just a booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places.
From the moment that I put this Cab Zenza on my skin, it feels most amazing. As you can see, it has your skin glistening, it's moisturizing, and it's very, 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 very yummy. You too should get Cab Zenza.
Luxurious body butters.
A bold builder of people, purpose, and platforms, Girls with Gigs helps high performers and those desiring to achieve more shift mindsets and activate purpose. Whether it's career or leadership development, personal branding, or knowing your worth. In the job market, transformation has never been closer, because this is where purpose meets action and dreams become destiny. Book your free consultation today at www.girlswithgigs.com.
Are you ready to slay the scene and the runway? Calling all aspiring actors and models, this is your moment to shine. Join our Powerhouse Acting and Modeling Beginners Workshop starting September 8th at 7 p.m. and unlock the confidence, skills, and presence you need to dominate the stage, runway, and the camera. Learn from industry pros, hands-on modeling and acting experience. Build your portfolio and craft. Perfect for beginners. Limited spots available. Registration is now open. Sign up at YesieRodriguez.com/powerhouse-workshop. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't make it happen without you all. Shout out to Dr. Cece, Nadine, Bard, we miss you. They are my amazing co-hosts and their businesses. Hey, they help sponsor Oyandia TV. But you all, if you want to highlight your business, if you want to be a sponsor, we welcome you with open arms. The email address to submit for a sponsorship opportunity is oyandiatv@gmail.com. It is scrolling at the bottom of your page view. Also, if you want to be a guest, hey, we welcome you with open arms also, because that is what Hoy en Día TV is. It's about la vida, right? De todo un poco. So we are always aiming to positively motivate, inspire, enlighten, educate, and entertain you all, the viewers and listeners, with each and every episode. And I am proud to say that I'm going to be sharing the link here right now. So you all, for those who missed any past episodes of Hoy en Día TV, you can actually find us on RSS, Spotify, Amazon Music, Facebook, of course, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Instagram, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podcast Index, Podverse, Deezer, Fountain, TrueFans, YouTube, and Refnoric. So, and yeah, bless, praise be to God. We are all over the place. So you can hear us working out, commuting, tune in to all these inspirational Hoy en Día TV shows, because that's what it is. It's about life, la vida, de todo un poco, all the shades of life, ups, downs, highs, lows, good, bad, ugly. That is what this platform is for. We are for the people, by the people, and keeping it on 100, keeping it real. So with that in mind, I'm going to give you my quote, as I always say. So I want you all to stop saying the sky's the limit. Stop saying the sky's the limit, and this is why. Because you are setting yourself a boundary, that Kármán line that you did not know existed. And I guarantee you should go Google it right now. Google Kármán line, Kárman, which is 100 kilometers, 62 miles above the sea level, that actually separates the Earth's atmosphere from outer space. So when you're saying the sky's the limit, you're technically setting yourself that boundary without you even realizing it. So back in 2011, when I came up with that epiphany, like, I want to stop saying sky's the limit, because I'm technically putting a mental boundary on myself. Say this quote instead: the sky is never the limit, because the galaxies are endless. Thank you all for tuning into Hoy en Día TV. Until next time.